Dan Dickau here for Gonzaga Nation SI on the Gonzaga Nation Media Network. This being a Monday, we're going to get back to having a typical kind of Monday recap of the WCC and different things that are going on. A few weeks back, we touched a little bit on the three programs that took European trips. Well, lo and behold, there's a fourth WCC program, Santa Clara, that is taking a European summer trip to kick off their season before the school year starts. And I think these are very important. They're great to see. They're great to know that programs are going on these type of events. I think, because of COVID and the shutdown and the lack of it able to do a lot of things over the last couple of years, I think we've seen more college programs take advantage of this rule where you can go once every 4 years this summer than I can remember in recent memory, in recent history. But when you look at Santa Clara and their trip, they are in Spain. And for anybody that doesn't follow international basketball, European basketball, behind the NBA, which is clearly by far the best league in the world, Spain probably has the best professional league. Their top league is called the ACB. You have Real Madrid, you've got Barcelona, you've got Fuenlabrada, you've got a number of different programs in teams that are in that top ACB league. Valencia, Juventus, that obviously are at the top of that league, but then they also play in what's called the Euro League, where you'll have in the bigger countries in Europe with the best leagues, you'll have the top of those leagues play in the Euro League. I think in each year there's roughly 20 teams in the Euro League, but that's a different conversation for a different day and how that is structured. Really wanted to get into the importance of this trip for Santa Clara. When you go on these trips, you're typically going to play anywhere from 3 to 5 games. You're going to do a lot of sightseeing. You're going to do a lot of team bonding, a lot of different experiences where really you can just kind of get away with that core group that is a part of your program before the school year starts. And you get the added bonus and benefit, like we've talked about with the other three programs, of being able to get some practice time in. And I think this might be more important for Santa Clara than it is for the other three programs. And we'll touch on the other three programs again towards the end. But the reason I think it's so important for Santa Clara is the fact that they, outside of Gonzaga losing Chet Holmgren, lost the biggest pieces of their program, of their team, of their roster from a season ago. And that would be Josip Frankic, as well as Jalen Williams. I mean, Jalen Williams was one of those guys that you saw potential as a freshman, you saw growth as a sophomore, and then he absolutely exploded as a junior, where I think he did lead the conference in scoring. I don't have those numbers directly in front of me, but the way he continued to improve and the way he kind of impacted the game in so many ways was huge for Santa Clara. Santa Clara could have been an NCAA tournament team a season ago if it were not for a couple untimely injuries. Vrankic getting mono, and then also, just COVID shutdowns that didn't necessarily were a result of their program, but other programs then having to pause games and reschedule games. But when you look at it, they could have been an NCAA tournament team. Their numbers stacked up very favorably. If they might have gotten 1 or 2 more wins throughout the course of the season, they would have been an NCAA tournament team in my estimation. And they had the talent where, similar to San Francisco, they could have maybe made a run with the right matchup in that first round. But again, Jalen Williams did so many things last year. He handled the ball to initiate offense. He was in pick and rolls, both with the ball in his hand, off the bounce, as well as in live ball pick and rolls. He did a great job getting out in transition. They would run him off screens and in different angles and different settings. And so I think the reason Santa Clara's foreign trip is so much more is so keen to keep an eye on is the fact that they've got to figure out how they're going to play without Jalen Williams. If you talk to their coaching staff, I'm pretty sure after they saw their growth between freshman, sophomore, and junior year, they had an expectation or a thought that, Junior year goes well, maybe he leaves early. Well, junior year towards the end went unbelievably well, declared for the draft, skyrocketed up draft boards, and then obviously was a first round pick of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So good stuff there for him, and best of luck to him in his career. But when you're looking at Santa Clara, how do you replace that production of Vrankic and Jalen Williams? And I think you're going to get to see a lot of guys get an opportunity to prove their mettle, prove their worth on this European trip. I think Keyshawn Justice has been a guy who, he seems like he's been at Santa Clara forever. He's been solid his whole career, but has he been able to expand his game? Can he, break out of that mold of kind of what he seems to be at times as a kind of a 3-and-D kind of solid guy? Can he be a go-to scorer? Parker Braun, he's started his career at Missouri. He's been a nice addition. Is he going to make a jump in production? Bediako has been mostly a defensive player over the last couple of years, but can he add some offensive punch on the low block? Carlos Stewart, as a freshman last year on the perimeter, showed some flashes, averaged over 5 points a game. Is he going to take this experience and really kind of build off of it? Then they've got a couple different freshmen that are intriguing. The big guys from Germany, two separate guys, one a 7-footer, one a 6'9". I think because of, again, losing Vrankic, losing Jalen Williams, lots of guys are going to have opportunities on this trip to kind of maybe not distance themselves from other guys on the roster, but give themselves put their best foot forward and give themselves a chance to kind of solidify what their possible role might be. Are they going to be a starter? Are they going to be first guy off the bench? Are they going to be a rotational player? So of all the programs, I think Santa Clara's is the most important. But the one we'll touch on really quickly, Pepperdine, it was important for them to go to Costa Rica simply for the fact that, last year they were so inexperienced. They went the grad transfer route last season. A couple of them didn't work out. Those grad transfers left the team really before the WCC conference play even began. And so you had to rely a lot on Jan Zedek as a scorer. And then you had three really good freshmen a season ago, Maxwell Lewis, Mike Mitchell Jr., and Houston Millette. And I thought those guys showed a lot of promise. But, going into their sophomore year, you're hoping to see some growth. And so that's what I think that Costa Rica trip did for Pepperdine, is give them a chance to get more game reps, game responsibilities, game reps, game looks. When you look at St. Mary's, they went to Australia. Not a big surprise that it was Australia. And I think they went to Australia for a couple of reasons. Their recruiting pipeline has always been great down there. They did lose a big piece in Tommy Kuzi. But when you also look at it, they got a lot coming back. Logan Johnson is back. Marshallonis is back. He had a good FIBA summer with Lithuania. Then you look at Alex Dukas, Kyle Bowen, Mitchell Saxon. They're all back. And I like what St. Mary's did in going to Australia. Dukas and Bowen and a lot of those guys, not only those guys, but a couple others on the roster and guys in the past are from Australia. So it gave them a chance to kind of go back, maybe play where family or friends could get there. But it also probably, I'm sure, strengthens a lot of those networks and the relationships and the recruiting pipeline. And then the last one would be Loyola Marymount. In year one under Stan Johnson, I thought they did a tremendous job. Year two last year, they still relied on Eli Scott a lot, but they were impacted by injuries and COVID probably more than any team in the WCC a season ago. And so I think it was perfect timing for LMU to get out for a trip, get their season jump started, get them the ability to kind of, put guys in different roles and learn who's going to be kind of the rock solid foundational pieces for the season coming up. Obviously, Kelly Leah Pepe is probably, that multi-dimensional guy that's going to be a big piece. I think Jalen Anderson is somebody who was had a lot of promise coming in, and then he's been injured a lot. So those are a couple guys that I think it's going to be very important for them in having got game reps and game responsibilities on their European trip. So Lots of good things around the WCC, but again, 4 of the 10 teams went on European trips. Was finally able to cover Santa Clara's a little bit this year. I think that's something that when teams get a chance every 4 years, it's awesome to see them make the most of it. And again, because of the COVID issues over the last couple of years, limiting practices, limiting travel, limiting opportunities for growth of culture within a program, I think that's one reason you're seeing with that ability to do that again, you're seeing lots of programs take advantage. So again, lots of good things going with Gonzaga Nation SI each Monday moving forward now as we start the school year. Oddly enough, next week, a lot of WCC schools will start school. We'll start transitioning into previewing each team, each roster, what their non-conference looks like, and we'll start taking a closer look at Gonzaga throughout the month of September as well. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and review on the Gonzaga Nation Media Network.